Hi, welcome to this third and final part of our Photostream application. So if you recall, in the first part, we wrote the backend application using Java EE, and also I wrote a simple AngularJS application to upload our application. So in the second part, what I did was I wrote a Photostream viewer that connects to the server using WebSocket. Every time when there is a file upload, the server will use through the WebSocket will notify the client. So just for a quick demo of where we are, so what I'm going to do is this is the viewer and this is the file upload. So let me just choose a file to perform an upload. So if you open this now, if I click this, you'll see that the file has been uploaded, and so the viewer gets updated. So let me just move this away. Okay, so in the third part, in this third and final part, what we are going to do is we are going to write a simple hybrid mobile app to take a picture and to upload the picture to our server. Okay, so let's begin. So what I'm going to do is this: I'm going to use Ionic. So if you have seen my past screencast, what I've been doing is that I've been hand coding Ionic. So I've been playing around with this Ionic Creator, and it's actually quite nice. So you can go to creator.ionic.io to create an account. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign in now into my account. Okay, so what I'll start is so I'm using the free account. So I think I only have one project, so I'm going to create a new project. So my project name, I'm going to call it Photostream Mobile. And just like the command line, you can have a choice of templates. So I'm going to use the blank template, and I'm going to go ahead and create my project. So this is the project. The project that is generated by default uses UI router. So for a very simple application like this application that we're going to develop, it may be a little bit too heavy, or maybe that there may be too much infrastructure. You may want to change this, but it's still a really nice place to really quickly visualize and create your application. So I'm going to call this Photostream. So I'll start by putting in a image placeholder. So this is going to be a placeholder where our image after the picture that we've snapped will be shown. So I'm going to put in a placeholder. So that's my placeholder, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a couple of buttons right below here. So I'm only going to need two buttons. So let's just start by saying, so this is snap, which is way of saying to take a picture, and I'm going to set some icon. So the icon position, I want it left, and I'm going to say this is camera. So this button is going to be upload, and the style, let's make it red. I think let's make it red. Okay, let's make it okay. And then I'm going to again put the icon left, and I will say upload like that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a few lines here just to show you the image that we have snapped. So I'm just going to stick this somewhere here, and I'll leave that for the time being. Okay, so this is our app now. So you can now do a few things. The first thing you may want to do is that you can actually download it, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use this command. So it basically says use Ionic to start my app, and then use this to pull the project from my account. So what you need to do is this: you need to go and first of all install the Ionic command line, and you need to log in. So you can say Ionic login. So again, So once I've logged in, I can say Ionic start. Okay, I'll say Photostream mobile, and now I'm going to copy this thing over. And it will now go ahead and pull my account, pull my project in. So this will take a while. Okay, so now that we are done, I can go into my Photostream app, which is an Ionic application. So I'm going to switch over to the editor now. So I will be using WebStrom. So with WebStrom, I'm going to go ahead and open up my project. So that's my project. Okay, so let's quickly run through the structure of the application. So as you can see, this is an Ionic Cordova application. So the thing that's really of interest to us is this. So this is the index file, the main index file. So if you go to config.xml, you'll see that it's asking it to load html.index, right? So this is the main file. So as you can see, the Angular application, the Ionic application, is broken up into a few parts, and it's using UI router. So that's the UI router. It's got a nice back button. So our views are located under templates. So that's my one view located under template. So that's my placeholder, and the application, my Angular application, is under. So that's Cordova. That's Ionic, and my Angular application is under here. So that's the main app. So you don't really need to touch this unless you've got things that you want to add here. A bunch of it's got a separate. So it's broken up like the controllers, directives, routes, services into separate files. So this is the services file, which we won't have anything. And then the route, if you look at the route, there's one route which is to page 1, and that's our page which I've shown you, and that's our controller. So we don't have any directive. I'm going to close this too, and finally this is our controller. So what I'm going to do is this. The first thing I'm going to do is this. I'm going to make this. I'm going to add a few. So I'm going to add a few stuff into my into the controller. So I'm going to have a image URL to hold my image, and the first image I'm going to hold is probably this. Okay, so I'm also going to have create two button, one called two button, one called snap, which is for taking photos, like that, and then another one to upload. Okay, so let's go back here, and I'm going to change this. I'm going to use ng source. Oops. I'm going to use ng source, and this thing I'm going to change to image URL. I think that's what it's called. Yep. So image URL. So the next one that I'm going to do is the buttons. Okay. So we want to look at the URL a little bit later on. So I'm just going to put the URL here. So let's. Maybe I'll just put strong. Okay, so I'll just do like this. URL. Okay, and then the third one, the third one, I'm going to add in some actions here. So this one is going to be snap, and this is going to be upload. Okay, so that's our application. So what we're going to do next is that we are going to now add our platform. So let's add the Android platform. So I'm going to say Ionic platform at Android. So it's now going to go off and generate the Android app. Okay, so now we would like to run this. So I will say Ionic. So let me see if so let's run it from within the browser. So if you are using WebStrom, you can go ahead and configure the ID, add a PhoneGap Cordova. So instead of so I will say run it on emulator. Run on emulator. So this is Ionic. So that's my app. So I'm going to emulate it. So okay. So let's try running this. So it's going to go ahead and build the application. So I've got the emulator here. Okay, so that's our app. So that's taking a picture, that's uploading, and that's the current image of this. That's the URL of this current image. So as you can see, it's actually fairly easy to create an app. So let me see how I can get back to the. So if you go out to the main menu, you see our application. Look, so that's our application. Okay. So for those of you who want to add, let's say like an icon, you can do so like this. So once you have added an image, right? Once you have added a platform, you go into resources. So what you need to do is that you need to copy an icon, an image, and replace this icon. So what I'm going to do is just let me see. So let me see this. Okay, so we're going to use this simple image. So what you do is you copy it into icon, replace it, and then you can say Ionic resources and get it to regenerate the icon like that. Okay, so once that is done, if you run the app again, if you rebuild the app again, so you will actually now see our Photostream icon. Okay, so let's go ahead and add some functionalities into our app. So I'm going to just move this out of the way. Okay, so what we need to do, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to add the camera functionality. So this is perhaps one of the easiest to do. Cordova comes with a plugin, so you just search for it. Just say Cordova camera and plugin, Cordova camera plugin. So this thing. Okay, so this is the plugin. So to add the plugin, you do that, and once you have added the plugin, there will be a global object called navigator.camera. So after that, so once you have so to use camera, what you do is this: you go camera.getPicture and you pass in two callback and a list of functions. So let's go ahead and add the camera first. So I'm going to say so if you look at the list of plugin, so if you're using Ionic, you can just basically replace all the Cordova command with Ionic. Ionic plugin list. So you see a list of plugins that have been added. So I'm going to add Cordova plugin. I think that's what it's called. Yep. Okay, so now let's look at it again. So we see our camera here. Okay, so we will now go ahead and add camera in. So this is the snap picture. So I will say, so if you recall, let's go back to here. So if you recall, the camera object is under navigator. So camera. So get picture. So this is the function that we will call. So we pass into function. So we say function. Okay. So it takes one parameter. So I'll explain what this parameter is afterwards. And then so this is the success, and this is the failure function. And then finally the last bit is a list of parameters or options for the camera. So let's go ahead and look at the camera options first. So the way the camera option works is you go camera options, and these are some of the options. So you would say like quality. What is the quality of your picture? So for example, I would say quality. So let's say 100%. So this is a hint to the camera. So maybe okay. So then the second one, this is important for us, the destination type. So if you look at the destination type, there are a few options. You can so once the picture has been snapped, you can either get it as a data URL, which is the base64 encoded string, or a file URI, or a native URI. So in our case, we are going to use the file URI. So what happens once we store in temporary location in the cache, and then the URI will be back to us. So we will take the file URI and we perform a file upload on that. Okay, so what we're going to do is this: we're going to say destination type camera destination type. We're going to say file URI. Optionally, you can also specify things like, when you start up the camera, function, you want it to be go straight to the library camera. So there are other options in here. Not all of them are available to Android or to iOS. You need to read the documentation. So the third options I'm going to add is the JPEG. Although its default, is always good to specify the option. So the encoding type. So I'll say encoding type. I want it to be JPEG. Okay. So that's our camera function. So if you recall, we specify we want file URI. So once the picture has been snapped, the file URI will be passed in through here. So what we do now is this: we will now say scope apply. So remember, we need to call the digest. We need to start the digest cycle ourselves, because these two functions, the success and the failure, is executed outside of the Angular context. So I'll say image URL, and I'll just pass it the URL. Okay, so quite simple. So let's run this application and see what happens. Okay, so this is my application. So I'm going to take a picture. So because I'm running on my desktop, I don't have a camera attached, so I'm just doing emulation mode. So let's go ahead and snap a picture. So now we will look at that picture. So this is the temporary storage that the file URI. So this thing is this option here. Okay, so let's take another one. So we've got a picture here. I believe the photo is actually rotated, so you can actually unrotate it. On my emulator, I'm not sure why the picture is rotated. Perhaps I need to specify some option. But if you deploy this on an actual device, the picture do actually turn up okay. At least on my phone, it turned up okay. So now that we have snapped a picture, the next thing that we want to do is that we would like to upload this picture into Okay, so what we do need is that we are going to need a plugin to help us with the there's actually a few file upload. The one that I use, I believe, is this. Okay, so it's quite simple. So you just add this plugin, and then it provides you with two objects, which I'll go through a little later. So basically, you create a file option to specify, where to upload, what is the Mime type, and then you use this file transfer object to perform the upload. So let's go ahead and add this plugin. So it's let's go. Okay, so we've got the file transfer here. So let's now add in the file transfer. So the file transfer goes something like this. You need to create a bunch of options. So the first thing you need to do is you need to create an option. So let's go and create this option first. So this is my upload function. So I'll say var options. File upload options with an S. Okay, so now we say the first thing we're going to specify is this. It's something called the file key. So what is the file key? So if you remember, if you go back to our application, our file upload application, our Java EE file upload application actually takes in reads two parameters from the upload. One is the image file, and this is the image type. So if you recall, the image file is actually the file object. So this is the image file, right? So the file key is actually that image file, the image file name. So in our case, if you say file key, so I will say image file. So this is actually equivalent to, so let me just put this here. This is actually equivalent to this. So it's actually that. Okay. So the second option we want to put is the Mime type. So since we are transferring JPEG, so I will say image JPEG. Okay. Then the third option that we're going to need is this. So if you go back to my application, the file upload application, we need one more image type. So for my application, we need to specify the suffix of the file name. So our case, if it's like JPEG, then this will be JPG. If it's PNG, then you can read from PNG. So go back to, if you do not know what this is, look at part 1 of this series. So say params, right? And then I say image type. So for me, it will be JPG, like that. So I've created the options. So now what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to set up the transfer, create a transfer object, file transfer. So I need to specify the URL. So remember, this is a mobile application, so I need to get the my IP address. Let's just put this up here first. So I'll say transfer upload. Okay, so our URL, our file URL. So the first parameter is the file URL. So the file URL is going to be this one, image URL. The second parameter will be the path, the URL that we're going to upload to. So that would be HTTP for my case, and then after that it is going to be 10.10.12.23 8080 Photostream and upload. Okay, so let's have a look at what is that. So my servlet, my upload servlet is called upload. So that's my server. That's my URL, my server address, and that's the name. That's the application context. If you're running Java EE, this is the application context. If you're doing like PHP or maybe Node, then perhaps you may not have this. And then this is the resource, the servlet that's handling that. Okay. Then the third thing it takes is two functions, success and failure. So I'm just going to ignore this. So this is the success, and then this is the failure. Callback, and then I'm going to pass in the options. So the third and final thing is the options. So let's have a look at this again. So we create a file option object, and then we specify the file key. Again, this file key is the input type. In my case, when I read the file bits, that is the name. So image file. So that's the file. That's the file name. So if you are this corresponds to this input this input type up here. So the next thing is the options. I'm going to specify it's an image, JPEG in particular, and these are my other parameters for my application, for the servlet application. So if you are writing your customs, maybe you want to put in like maybe some comments along with the photo, then this will probably be like this: comments, some comments, for example, like this, right? So on your servlet side, then you just request get parameter, get the comments. So once you've created the options, you create a file transfer object, and then you perform an upload. You give the file URL. So the URL comes from the camera, the camera. So in the camera, we say we want the file URL, and what happens is that you upload, you provide the file URL here. The other option is to specify, is to use the data URI, which will give you an encoded, a base64 encoded image stream. You can use that for upload as well. Of course, if you do that, then the upload function will be slightly different. So you upload the base64, and on the server you need to convert that back into an image, a binary in binary format. So this is the success, the failure, and you just pass in a whole bunch of options. So let's run this application and see what happens. So let me just pull this here. So I'm going to run this application now. Go back now. I'm going to pull up my application. Okay, so it's running. So let's take a picture. So I'm going to snap this. Now I've said it's okay. So now let's perform an upload, and you see that the image has been uploaded. So let's snap another picture. Okay, let's snap one. Okay, let's do an upload. So so this concludes my 3-part series. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you got any questions, do put them in a comment, and thank you very much. I'll see you in the next screencast.